Hi, everybody. It's Rick Beyer. I would call Chris Anderson, but he's not with us at the moment because Chris is on tour. It's actually the last night of his Band of Brothers signature tour, and he and George Luz are at a dinner, their final night's dinner. So he has to be there to hear all the good things that people are saying about him. And he's going to try to join us as soon as he can. I can just imagine him now scrambling to try to get here and join us for this show. But welcome everybody to History Happy Hour, and thanks to Stephen Ambrose Historical Tours for helping to bring you this show. You can check out their rich offering of military history tours, like the one that Chris is leading right now, at stephenambrosetours.com. And whether you're watching live, watching on replay, or listening to the HHH podcast, we're glad you're here. And today we're going to be talking about National History Day and meeting some of the student winners this year. We have a whole bunch of people in the green room here, so it's very crowded. So we're going to have maybe a record number of people on the show. So let us know where you're watching from. And what you're drinking. I can see all sorts of folks here. Lizzie Borden from London, Ray Smith from Tennessee, David Picker, Nancy Nallance. Oh, Nancy, I almost missaid your name. Houston is in the house. Wally Morrison and many others joining us here. I want to take a moment to thank everybody who supports us on patreon.com, especially our top shelf patrons. And you can see this list is getting longer and longer. But honestly, we can have room. We can always go to a second screen. So you can join this group if you want to by clicking on patreon.com/historyhappyhour. Well, as I mentioned, Chris is on tour. He's going to join us a little bit late tonight because of their dinner. So I am going to get the show going on my own. I know it's not the same, is it? It's just not really the same without Chris Anderson here. So you'll just have to give me some support so I can make it without him. But I'm gonna, since Chris isn't here, I'll give myself the cue and say, "Brrrmp," and didn't do it very well, and let's go. Well, the bar is open, even though I'm here alone, and we'll get started. Every year, hundreds of thousands of middle school and high school students across the country take part in National History Day projects based on their own research. They create these projects, they compete at the school level, and then region, state, and for a select few, the nationals. And just a handful of students win gold medals or silver medals for their projects. Today, we're going to talk to some of those students about their projects and their love of history. I know I was amazed at the variety of projects and the quality of research, and I hope that you'll have some questions for some of these guys and join us in the discussion with them. But before we do that, we're going to bring on Cathy Gorn, who's the Executive Director of National History Day. She's been with NHD since graduating college in 1982. I think that's correct, isn't it? That's right. She also earned a PhD from Case Western Reserve in 1992 and has served as an editor for more than 40 curriculum guides and projects for National History Day. So, Cathy, welcome to History Happy Hour. And maybe to start out, because I know we've talked a little bit about NHD on our show over the years, but for people who don't know exactly what it is, can you kind of give us an overview?
Sure. Thanks for having us today, Rick. Really appreciate it. National History Day is a program for students in grades 6 through 12, although in some states it's 4th and 5th grade to get them started young, where kids are encouraged to choose a topic in history, and it can be local, state, national, world, whatever they might be interested in, ancient, modern, Renaissance, whatever. And then go into depth on their research and really dig in and get into archives and museums and conduct oral history interviews if the topic warrants it. And so be historians and go out there and think about their topics in relation to a theme. And this year's theme was rights and responsibilities in history. And that kind of forces them to think about why these topics were important, what was the significance, what came before, what came after, not just what happened or, giving us names and dates. It's not the secondary school version of Trivial Pursuit. It's about actually doing the research and then presenting it in really cool different formats: a paper, a project, like an exhibit, or a website, a dramatic performance, or a documentary. And so they get that ability to be creative at the same time they're being really quite academic and thoughtful in their scholarship.
So you've been involved with National History Day for 42 years or 43 years, if my math is correct.
I'm older than
So let's not get into age. We don't want to go that far here. But how has it changed over the years? How have you seen it develop and broaden out over the years?
Well, I think that, I've been with it for 43 years and I've seen it grow in different ways. So, for example, when it first started, it was just papers and tabletop exhibits, and we added performances. And then, with the technology, we've added documentaries and websites and such. But it's also expanded internationally. So it's not just in the US and territories, but we have programs all over the world. So that's been important, but also the way it's changed the way teachers teach in the classroom. I think that's one of the best things that it does, is it gets them away from the, kind of boring textbook, and teachers use primary sources in their classroom teaching, and that really makes history come alive. And I think that's extremely important to get kids excited about doing history instead of trying to memorize it.
Okay, so one of the things I'm interested in is National History Day, the actual gathering in Washington that takes place each in June, the Nationals. Can give us a sense of what this like? How many kids make it to the Nationals, and what are those few days like for them?
Well, out of 500,000 throughout the year, we have about 3,000 kids, middle school and high school, that make it to the national competition, which is at the University of Maryland in June every year. And you're seeing the tabletop exhibits that are on display, and you'll see a little bit of a performance, I think, this afternoon. And it's an opportunity for kids to share their work. That's a website, and to, really dig in and share history and knowledge, and they're judged by professional historians and educators. And it's a big, happy, exciting celebration of history education. It's almost a little bit surreal when you're there and these kids are cheering for academic excellence in history. It's pretty cool. And they're meeting one another. They're meeting one another and learning about one another, and noticing that, although, they come in all kinds of shapes and sizes and colors and backgrounds, and, from suburban areas and rural areas and urban areas, etc., they all realize that they've all got a lot in common. And I think that's an important byproduct of this organization's mission, is to teach history, but it's also to help us learn about each other, and that's important to our democracy.
Well, now I want to ask something that came up earlier this year. You lost some of your funding through the National Endowment for the Humanities because of ongoing things in Washington, D.C. You've been trying to make that up through private donations. So how has that been going? How is are you going to be able to keep going with National History Day?
Well, I sure hope so. We lost $330,000 just like that from the National Endowment for the Humanities when it was cut. And what was great, though, is that we did have an outpouring of support from people around the world who recognize how important this program is, and we were able to hold the national contest last month. Moving forward, we're hoping that we're going to be okay. I think we have some momentum. And with the help of a lot of people and a lot more donations, we will continue to do what we do, and that's bring good history education to our nation's young people. But really important that this goes on in the state and local levels as well.
All right. Well, Cathy, thank you so much for helping set the scene here. Stand by, and I'm going to bring in some of the students here who we have waiting to join us. So I'm going to let you go, but don't go away. Stay with us because we want to bring you back at the end. So I want to introduce next a student named Aleka Goldberg. Hi, Aleka. How you
Hi,
how you doing?
good, thank you.
Sure. So Aleka won first place in the junior individual exhibit for her project, Returning Blue Lake, the Confluence of Rights, Responsibilities, and Social Justice. First of all, let me say congratulations.
Thank you, and thank you for having me on today.
Oh, it's our pleasure. And you're a sixth grader, is that right?
Yes.
Sixth grader from Peak to Peak Mountain Charter School in California. Listen, tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got involved with National History Day.
Well, I started participating in National History Day in fourth grade, which was 3 years ago now, and I in California, which is one of the states where you can do a poster and start in fourth grade. And on those 2 years that I did in fourth and fifth grade, I made it to state both times, winning a gold of the first year and a silver the next year. And then this year, I qualified to go to nationals.
Fantastic. So tell us a little bit about your project, and it is yours is a project, right? It's like project boards. Is that correct?
Yeah, a museum exhibit.
Okay. So tell us a little bit about what it's about. What is Returning Blue Lake? Who is it? Who is it being returned to, and what's going on there?
Yeah, so my project is about the return of Blue Lake, and Blue Lake is a lake very sacred to the Taos Puebloans, which is a tribe native to New Mexico. But in 1906, President Theodore Roosevelt took Blue Lake away from the Taos Puebloans to put in part of Carson National Forest. Not only did the Taos Puebloans lose their sacred Blue Lake, but they lost their right to religious freedom. This is the First Amendment on the Constitution. President Theodore Roosevelt thought that it was a benefit for the public when in reality their sacred lake was being trashed, with non-native fish being put in, and they needed to get a permit to practice their religion. But after a 64-year battle in the courts, President Nixon returned Blue Lake to its rightful owners, helping the Taos Puebloans get their lake returned. It inaugurated self-determination and sovereignty, and it was the first time in history that instead of financial compensation, land was returned to a tribe with land taken away.
Okay, fantastic. What made you want to dive into the Taos Pueblans and this lake? What was the cause for you to want to try to do this?
Well, my mom sometimes is on social media and she finds a post that she finds interesting. She's like, "Oh, look at this." And she found an old post about a 50-year anniversary since Blue Lake was returned. And I read it and I found it interesting because I like studying and just going to places with Native American history and culture, such as Mesa Verde, and I even went to Taos Pueblo over COVID. So I found it interesting, also because I'm a National Park Junior Ranger. So it combined my interests, so I decided to do it as my project.
Okay, and tell me about the research you did. How deep did you dig on this?
Very deep. I've been working on it and researching on it for almost a year. I started in September and I didn't stop until like a day before the competition. I have normal secondary sources like newspaper articles and books, websites, but then I also have primary sources. I interviewed 5 people, and one of them is 80 years old, over 80 years old. And I also went to Yorba Linda, to the Nixon Library, National Archives, and researched there for 2 days.
So I really enjoy interviewing people, and I've interviewed a lot of World War II veterans. And so, how did you find it? Obviously, somebody who's 80 years old is a lot older than you are. So, what was that like talking to them?
Well, they were very joyed that I was bringing and continuing the Blue Lake story. And one of the people that I interviewed said is from Taos Pueblo, and he said that he's talking to the tribe's elders, and he wants to put me and my project in the National Archives. And I'm still in touch with all the people I've interviewed from this year and previous years. One of them is 103 that I interviewed from my 4th grade year.
Wow, wow. Now, in this project about Blue Lake, was there anything that really surprised you? Anything that, as you dug in, you were like, this is totally not what I expected?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't so much of that I didn't expect it, but I didn't expect it either. I just really didn't know but it surprised me on how committed they were to getting Blue Lake returned. The Taos's religious leader, Cacique Romero, started fighting for Blue Lake to be returned when he was 26 as part of the tribe's youth committee. And he didn't stop fighting for Blue Lake until he was 90 years old. He fought for the whole 64 years, and he didn't give up once. Same with the rest of the tribe.
And so, what was your favorite part of being in Washington D.C. at the? I assume that you went to the finals in Washington.
Yeah.
You were there. What was your favorite part or favorite couple of parts of that?
I really like the events that they have for the kids and just meeting other kids' projects, learning about their backgrounds, where they're from. I met so many kids there that I'm also still in contact with. And they have fun little activities such as pin trading, where you get a pin from your state and you can trade it with other states.
Oh, super! Now you've won first place. You can't get any higher. But are you going to continue to be involved with National History Day?
Yes, and if I continue doing National History Day and making it to state for 6 years in a row, or not even in a row, but just for 6 years, then I get a legacy award and a scholarship.
Oh, fantastic! Well, how many years? This is your 3rd year that you've got now?
Yes, and I'm planning to participate next year, making it my 4th.
Yeah, so you have 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So you have 6 more years, and you just have to get there 3 times. So,
Yeah.
Aleka, thank you so much for talking about your project today. Hang with us today, and we'll bring you guys all back at the end. So, thank you so much for joining us today on History Happy Hour. Um, and Yeah. Okay. So, and I want to just say for anybody who's tuned in late that Chris Anderson is on tour. He is at a final night dinner on his Band of Brothers signature tour. He's trying to join us late, perhaps, but of course, he's there with the paying guests on his tour, and they take priority, and we all certainly understand that. Our next guest, we have 3 guests who are going to join us. And it's Corrado Naples, Yanni Gauntis, and Nathan Thomas. And let me bring them up. 3 guys here. And they did a project, a junior group performance. They won a silver medal with their project, Pieces of the Parthenon, How the Elgin Marbles Carved Controversy Between the Rights and Responsibilities of Cultural Artifacts. They're from the Birchwood School in Cleveland. Guys, congratulations, first of all, on your victory. And can you tell me, how did you come together as a team to work on this? And you're going to have to figure out who's going to talk first, but I'm sure you can do it.
Yeah, so I can just answer that one. We kind of did. This is actually the 2nd year we're all working in the same group. So last year we kind of, had to figure it out because it was our 1st year. But this year we kind of like know our strengths and like where we can assign each other and what steps like to divide equally the project. So yeah, just working together, we had like good chemistry and we were able to make it to the national level, fortunately.
So maybe, Corrado, can you tell us a little bit about the story of the Elgin Marbles that you're trying to tell here?
Yeah, this story started back in the early 1800s, where the British ambassador to Greece, Thomas Bruce, the 7th Earl of Elgin, he found interest in pieces of the Parthenon, and they became known as the Elgin Marbles because he took them back to Greece and after getting a loan from the Ottoman Empire. But the problem is that people were confused and didn't know whether it was legal at the time because the Ottoman Empire was ruling over Greece. So they didn't know just because they were ruling over Greece, did that mean they had the right and responsibility to take the marbles, or were they out of place or out of line?
Okay. I'm going to show the first minute and a half or so of your piece here. This is your performance group, and then we'll come back to you and ask you about it afterwards.
Pieces of the Parthenon. How the Elgin marbles carved controversy between the rights and responsibilities of cultural artifacts.
By Yanni Guntis
Corrado Naples.
and Nathan Thomas. Welcome to the Greece Gallery in the Acropolis Museum. This section showcases ancient Greek artifacts that tell the story of Greece's long and fascinating history. Take your time and feel free to ask me if you have any questions.
Whoa, check these out. Wow, these artifacts are beautiful, but it says here that these are only some of the marbles. Huh, that's weird.
Hey guys, is there anything I can help you with?
Yeah, we have a question. Why are some of the artifacts in this collection missing?
Oh, the Elgin marbles. This is only half of the original collection of sculptures. The rest are in the British Museum in London.
Well, that's odd. Yeah, how did that even happen?
Well, it's a long story, but since you guys seem very interested, I'll tell you. It's a story of great controversy, plotting theft, and the rights and responsibilities of keeping and returning cultural artifacts.
Okay, I'm really interested now. Me too.
Great, but before I begin, I have one question. What do you guys already know about the Elgin marbles?
Well, they're super old. They're made of marble, obviously. They depict scenes from Greek history and mythology, right? Oh, and they're created by an ancient sculptor named Phidias.
Very good. You guys already know some things about the Elgin marbles. But to fully understand the story of these magnificent works of art, we have to travel back in time to where it all began.
So, Yanni, when we travel back in time, what do we learn? What's the controversy here with the Elgin marbles?
So basically what the controversy really means is that, so these marbles that Greece made, so all the way back, they had a sculptor named Phidias who created these marbles and took a long time to sculpture them and place them into Greece, which then Greeks believe that this shows like their beauty and like their culture, which then the Ottomans took over and took these like beautiful art and placed them into Britain when the Greeks didn't like that. And that's really just like they've been fighting since till today. They've been fighting over these marbles.
So what made you, Nathan, what made you guys decide to dig into the, and I've always said Elgin marbles, but should I be saying Elgin marbles? Maybe I can learn something today too.
Oh, well, yeah, I mean, they go by both names. They were originally the Parthenon marbles, but because of this whole topic, they got renamed to the Elgin marbles because they were infamously stolen by Lord Elgin. So yeah, how we came up with this topic is Yanni here is actually Greek. So he took a trip to Greece once and he saw that the marbles weren't being returned to Greece. But when he traveled to Paris, the Louvre, I think it's called the Louvre, right?
The Louvre.
Yeah, so they were actually returning artifacts to countries that they had once they knew that countries could take hold and like preserve the artifacts correctly. So he thought that it was unfair, so he brought up the topic to us, and we all decided to do that topic just to bring like light to it, and it's not a commonly done topic. So yeah, that's kind of how we decided on to do this topic.
And Yanni, what kind of research did you guys have to do for this? I mean, because you're performing, right? So you're playing roles. So it's not like you're presenting directly, direct information, but you are incorporating a lot of information into this. So what kind of research did you have to do?
So yeah, we did much research and much digging through, like, since this is a very old topic, it was very hard to find like primary sources. And a couple primary sources we found were the documentation that the Ottomans gave to Elgin to take the marbles. Another one is a couple of like journals that Elgin had and messages that he sent to other people that included the marbles.
Okay. I guess it would be interesting to know, do what you guys think. Did you take a position in this piece that you did about who should end up having the marbles, or did you try to leave it open?
We believe that Greece should get the marbles back, which they actually could possibly be getting because 2 days before our nationals performance, our round one performance, we found an article that stated that there is a possibility of a long-term temporary loan of the marbles to Britain, from Britain to Greece. So they could go back to the collection could be united again and become whole.
Now, you guys did a project together last year. Was that the first year that any of you had worked on a National History Day project?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
So what got you into it? Was it a suggestion of a teacher? Was it reading about it online? I mean, what got you involved in this endeavor?
A big
So-
part of
Yeah, go ahead.
a big part of our school's program is History Day. For 7th and 8th grade, we are required to take it. However, 6th grade is optional. So we just thought we wanted to do it because it just seemed like something that was really fun and it was a fun opportunity. And so we did. And then how we all came together is we got was by suggestion of our teacher.
So I'm going to put you guys on the spot. Like if you're doing a required program, that's not always like something that people are like, I want to do it. Somebody's like, okay, I've got to do the required program. So has it changed at all how you view history? Has it inspired you in any way? And Yanni, I'll start with you and I'll go around to each of you.
So it was required this year to do it, but since we have done it last year, I thought it was really interesting. And I thought, so I'm very like excited. I was always excited to do it, and it always inspired me like about history. Like I loved history class, and when they brought up this topic, I was like immediately like I want to do this. Even if that first year in 6th grade, it wasn't required, but I just still wanted to do it. So did Nathan and Corrado, and I think that's why we just came together.
Nathan, you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, it was optional, but for me, it like wasn't an option. I wanted to do it, and I think I can say the same for all of us, because last year History Day is an experience, and that's like one of the reasons I think History Day is like something at least everybody should try at least once, because it is an experience and it's super fun to do. Yes, it requires a little bit of more effort, a little bit more time and dedication towards like trying to make a good project, but the reward and like the feeling that you accomplished making like a project that tells a story of something historically well, that's a great feeling. And yeah, I just wanted to do it again this year too.
Corrado, anything to add there?
Yes. So as they already said, we all wanted to do this, even though it was optional. Partially, I wanted to do this because if it was required in the next 2 years, why not just do it? So then you know what to do when you're going into those required years. And honestly, it was very helpful. It taught me so many lessons. Like once you're done with one level of competition, you immediately should start working on like what you're doing to prepare for the next, because your judge's feedback is like does not take too long to get out. As soon as you get that feedback, take it and try and work with it as much as you can to fit it in within that 10-minute time limit.
Well, guys, thank you so much for joining us today. Stick around, and again, congratulations. And it sounds like you've learned a lot from this and taken a lot from it. And we look forward to seeing what your project will be next year. Yanni, Nathan, and Corrado, thank you so much. Now,
Glad to be here.
Thank you.
okay, and don't go away. And I will operate everything here if I can find everybody. You're watching, by the way, History Happy Hour. I want to remind everybody that Chris Anderson is not here with us at the moment. Maybe he won't be joining us. I know he's got a dinner tonight on the tour that he's on. So we hope he'll be able to come in for part of the show. But if not, we'll just have to give him a really hard time about it. We're talking today about National History Day, and we're bringing on some of the students who have done National History Day projects. And the next person to join us is from Hawaii, and her name is Keilani Kajiyama Moses. How did I do there, Keilani?
You were really close. Yeah. Aloha. Nice. Thank you so much for having me.
Well, we're delighted to have you from Kahuku High School, and you won first place in Senior Individual Performance category with your project Defending Rights, Embracing Responsibility, Aiku Herzi Yoshinaga, in her pursuit of justice for Japanese internees. So congratulations.
Thank you.
I love the laurel that you're wearing there. It looks fabulous. Your project is about an individual person, and we'll play an excerpt from it in a minute. But first, can you tell us who Aiko was and why you focused your project on her?
Yeah, so Aiko was a researcher with only a high school education, but she uncovered over 33,000 government documents about the Japanese internment camps. She was incarcerated in the Manzanar concentration camp, and when the internment camps ended, she moved to Washington, D.C., and that was something she always questioned was, why was she interned? The government narrative at the time was military necessity, so she decided to go to the National Archives and research and wonder if that truly was the reason. And as she researched, she discovered that it wasn't military need, but it was racial prejudice. And she was able to find this key document. It's called the Original DeWitt Report. And this document proved that it wasn't military necessity, but it was racial prejudice, the reasoning for the camps. And because of her work and the people she worked with, she was able to overturn the wartime convictions of Fred Korematsu and Gordon Hirabayashi and Minoru Yasui. And she helped pave the way for the Civil Liberties Act of 1988. But something that really touched me about Aiko was that she only had a high school education. Because she was incarcerated at 17, which is actually the age I am, so that's kind of crazy. She wasn't able to even she wasn't able to get her diploma, and she wasn't able to get to college. But it just kind of shows me how everyone can study history, and everyone has the ability to do research-based advocacy to push for what needs to be happened.
Let's play an excerpt. This is the beginning, about the first minute and a half or so of your performance.
My name is Aiko Hersi Yoshinaga, and when I was 17, the American government forced my family and 120,000 other Japanese Americans into prison camps. Herded like animals, we were marched onto buses, but looking around me, I only saw my family and friends. Why was the government so afraid of us? Wasn't it our government's responsibility to uphold the Constitution and protect every citizen's rights regardless of race? Aiko Hersi Yoshinaga's relentless research, which propelled Japanese American redress efforts, exemplifies how an individual sense of responsibility can restore the constitutional rights of liberty, property, and life. Liberty. My family was torn apart. My father, labeled high risk, was sent to a camp in Arkansas. Thousands of miles from California, my prison, barbed wire and armed guards surrounded us, rifles pointed at us, crammed into barracks like livestock, dirt floors and toilets so thin it couldn't keep out the biting cold or the suffocating heat. Property. Forced to sell or abandon our homes, businesses, and belongings, Congress estimated a staggering $500 trillion in Japanese American property and income losses. Life. My baby Lisa and my father were hospitalized in overcrowded, abandoned camp medical centers, both illnesses a direct result of negligent camp conditions. After months of begging, I was finally allowed to transfer to my father's camp. But I arrived to his dead body. How was my father, who supported President Franklin Delano Roosevelt, and my innocent child, dangerous threats to America?
So you're very dramatic in your approach, and I wonder how much did you personally identify with her as you got deeper and deeper into this?
Yeah, so this topic is really personal to me and to my family history. My grandpa was a hibakusha, which means he was a survivor of the Hiroshima bomb in Japan, when America dropped. And I have family members who were Japanese internees in the American camps. So I always grew up hearing stories of my World War II relatives and hearing how they were so resilient. But something that always struck with me was the silence that followed. They didn't want to speak up because of the government's prevailing narrative. And then I discovered Aiko Hersing Yoshinaga, and she did what a lot of Japanese Americans couldn't do. She spoke up and she researched, and she wasn't afraid. And even though she only had a high school education, she pushed and she thrived, and she was so determined. And that was something that really inspired me, because I'm only a junior in high school. I don't have a college education. I'm not famous. I don't feel like I have a lot to do, but because of Aiko, I felt like I could do anything, even if it was just doing a History Day project about her.
Now you mentioned the DeWitt report, and I also saw that in your written document that goes along with your video, your performance, and what a key document this was. Can you tell us a little bit more about what it was as a document, and also about your efforts to find it?
Yeah, so the original DeWitt report was a original report created by DeWitt to kind of explain the Japanese internment camps, and it was supposed to be
Who was DeWitt?
Yeah, he was he was the general of the Western Defense Command. So he was kind of like the architect of the internment camps. And in this original DeWitt report, something that stuck with me was he had made basically no mention of military necessity, even though that was supposed to be why the camps were created. And something important that I found when I was accessing the document was he compared Japanese Americans to sheep and goats, saying that although there are a few differences between the loyal and the disloyal, at the end of the day, they're all livestock. And that's something that stuck with me. It was, yeah. But you mentioned my efforts to find it, so I guess I'll touch on that now. So I knew I needed to find this original document. I tried to research the way Aiko did, finding primary sources. I went to the National Archives a lot, but because I live in Hawaii, it's really hard for me to access some of these documents. So I reached out to the National Archives, but they said they didn't have the report. And then I reached out to Densho Encyclopedia, which is this online database of a lot of primary sources related to the internment camps. And even they didn't have it. But they both directed me to the UCLA Special Collections Division for Jack and Aiko Hersing papers. And this is Aiko's personal document collection that she moved from the National Archives to UCLA so that West Coast Japanese Americans could have access to their history. And so I emailed them, and they were able to send me a photo scan copy of every single page of the final DeWitt report. And they told me that, and it's honestly kind of amazing that even though I'm just from a small little town in Hawaii, I'm one of the few people to actually have seen this final DeWitt report and to have looked at it. And it just made me feel like I was Aiko. And it really showed me, what happened to the Japanese Americans and how wrong it was. And that was something really cool.
Yeah, and it suggests a certain amount of denial by our country, by the people in our country, that people didn't have this document, that hardly anybody has seen it. Doesn't that seem a little off or wrong to you?
Yeah, I mean, actually, something that came to mind was as I was trying to find this document, the only copy that they have really publicly available is the revised copy, the one that DeWitt had changed to fit the narrative. But I reached out to Densho after I had found this document, and we're trying to get it publicly available for other researchers because it's such a significant document.
Now, Chris Anderson and I both find historical research to be a fascinating way to spend time. So what were your thoughts? I don't know how long you've been involved in National History Day, but are you a research maven, or is it just something you have to do in order to be able to do the rest of it?
No, I love history. I love researching. This is actually my 6th year doing National History Day. I started when I was in 5th grade with my wonderful teacher, Mrs. Spring. In 6th grade, I actually got to go to the national competition, but it was COVID year, so I couldn't go in person. But I was able to win first place that year too. And then this last year, you mentioned I got first place again. So it's kind of a full circle moment. But I really appreciate National History Day and all my teachers that have really inspired me to do history. But history is so important to me and to my family history, and that's something that ICO really taught me, is that in order to be able to engage politically and to be able to stand up and speak up for our rights, we have to do research today. I wouldn't have had that incredible learning experience to kind of grow and to see how important research is, even though it makes it seem really, really hard sometimes. But I don't know, that's something really important to me.
Well, thank you so much for joining us. Chris, you're welcome to jump in with a question here. But I don't know what.
Well, based on the comments, I'm saying everybody's having a really fantastic time and learning about these projects. And I'm so sorry that I was joining everybody late, but the kids, as we knew, are impressing our guests very much. So
Eli, thank you so much. And say your name for me one more time. I'm really working on this.
Ilani Kajiyama Moses.
Kajiyama Moses.
Keilani
Kajiyama Moses. Chris, you can introduce her next time. Keilani, thank you so much for joining us. And stick around. Please stick around. Chris Anderson, welcome to History Happy Hour.
Rick, I'm so sorry, everybody.
We understand. You know, I told people that you're on vacation and you couldn't be bothered to join us. And
it was my tie night at the bar, and I just
you were the dart game was getting really fierce, and you had a lot of money riding on it. No, I told them that it was the final night dinner on the Band of Brothers signature tour. I hope it went very well.
It seems to have. Yeah.
And you'll be headed home tomorrow, right?
There are rumors to that effect. However, it was actually the Normandy trip, so I got to spend 10 days talking about Canadians.
Oh, okay. It was Normandy. You're not actually Band of Brothers. I'm a tour behind.
I never got out of Normandy. I know, right?
I know. So where are you tonight? Are you in Paris?
I am at the lovely Hilton at Charles de Gaulle Airport.
Okay. Fantastic. I'll be there in a month. Yeah, awesome. So, would you like to introduce our final person, Lillian Tao, or would you like me to do it?
No, I will do this, and if Lillian could bear with me, it is Lillian Tao from. I'm going to miss. You did that to me on purpose, didn't you?
Waiakia.
Waiakia. Thank you. Waiakia High School, who, along with her partner Abigail Gomez, won the gold medal in the senior group website for their project, The Thalidomide Tragedy: The Importance of Manufacturing Responsibility, Consumer Safety, and the Birth of Modern Drug Regulation. So,
Lillian, welcome to History Happy Hour.
Thank you for joining us.
You have to ask a question now, Chris.
Yeah, no. So why don't you tell us a little bit about
So our project was on the Thalidomide tragedy, which was the largest largest man-made medical disaster in history, and it was created through the inadequate drug testing of the 1950s and pharmaceutical grade. And what they basically did was that because there wasn't a lot of drug regulations back in the 1950s, pharmaceutical companies created this drug called thalidomide, which was mass marketed despite having not being tested thoroughly. And as a result, when it was sold to many pregnant women around the world, it caused about 100,000 birth abortions and deaths. And as a result of this event,
no, please go ahead.
Created a lot of consumer rights and manufacturing responsibility.
So
no problem.
Yeah, so Lillian, did you what brought you to this topic? Did you have an interest in it, or was there something that caught your eye, or what drew you to this?
So initially, when I was looking at history topics to research about, I came across this documentary titled "The Thalidomide Tragedy" by the New York Times, and this documentary basically introduced me to the Thalidomide tragedy, and my interest and my partner's interest in pursuing the medical field basically drove us into researching further. And through the interviews and photos we saw, we were really interested in further researching about it and basically learning what happened.
So I want to, Lillian, take a moment here, and I forgive me, I have to do this. It's just take a second. I want to show a little bit of your project, as we have with the other projects about thalidomide, and in this case, Distaval. This is the home page. You have a historical context page talking about kind of the time period. And then you have a page on the tragedy that you focus on here of the thalidomide and the deaths from thalidomide. And you, I think if we go down here, you have a lot of photographs that are pretty rough photographs. They're pretty brutal. And I was wondering, when you were working on this, why did you feel it was really necessary? I mean, I guess you did, to show all these photographs. And were you a little squeamish about that at all?
Well, although they might be a little bit disturbing or strong, I think it was really important to show the side effects of not having manufacturing responsibility or sterile trials to test it. And it's very important in medical research today. And I feel like showing these images and showing these interviews and these personal quotes, I think that's very impactful to understanding why it matters.
Okay. So, Susan has mentioned that it's clearer without me, so hopefully I'm not causing this problem. I do that a lot. So, Lillian,
No.
are there things that, as you kind of set out on this, that surprised you as you were doing your research?
Well, initially, when I first researched it, I found that during the 1950s, there weren't strict drug regulations. They were just the FDA wasn't seen as very important as it is today, and many drugs just passed without further inspection, which kind of shocks me. And the amount of birth deformities and the way pharmaceutical companies try to push down this tragedy, saying it was from a variety of different reasons, it kind of really surprised me and my partner Abigail.
So, hang on a second. Let me just bring back my picture here. I'm wondering, this is a project about drug regulation and the lack of it in this time period. And what do you think, what lessons does it hold for us today? Because some of these same questions are questions, as I'm sure your research showed you, that are being kind of in the news today. So what lessons would you have, the U.S. in 2025 take from these from this story?
The lessons would be to certainly run the trials, make sure vigorously run it, because if you don't, then a similar tragedy might happen. And I think just learning from the past to try to prevent the same tragedy is very important today.
So what do you because when Rick and I did high school history projects, I don't know what did we do, Rick? We made volcanoes and I don't know.
Writing a 3-page paper, yeah.
Yeah, right. So this is pretty advanced stuff. So what did you get? What do you want to do with that?
So when I came to national history, it was really cool to just see other projects. I got to meet a lot of like-minded peers and learn about why they were interested in history, and visit a lot of museums in Washington. And I think the main thing I can take away from History Day is that history matters. It's not just a topic like any other subject. I think it's very crucial to shaping today's world, and without it, we may be lost or repeat similar tragedies.
Well,
today.
I want to just say thank you so much, Lillian, for joining us today to talk about your fascinating project. And I didn't mean to, I want to just say that my question about the pictures was just kind of born from thinking how hard that must have been for you to use them. But I think you're absolutely right. I think they were a very important and critical part of the project. Don't go away. Hang on here for a second. But again, thank you very much for joining us today. And I'm going to bring back Cathy Gorn, who joined us at the top of the show. Cathy, you've been involved with History Day for 40 years, so you've obviously seen thousands and thousands of students. But I'm interested in your thoughts, having just seen all of these very bright, obviously very knowledgeable students talk about their projects.
I'm absolutely blown away every time. That's why I'm still here. 43 years later, I am still here with this organization because of these kids and what I learn every year from them, and to see their excitement and how much fun they have, but importantly, their really true understanding of why history is important, why looking at these topics in historical context, and I think that's helping them learn how to be better prepared, more informed citizens and voters, and that is absolutely one of the things your audience probably heard from this broadcast today is the sense of empathy that these students have learned, and boy, this world needs a lot more empathy in it.
It's inspiring. Many decades ago, I helped out reading some of the History Day projects and kind of adding my thoughts, and I'm just really impressed by what these kids do and what they accomplish. And what can the viewers of History Happy Hour or anybody do to help out these kids and help out National History Day and kind of keep this moving forward?
Well, a variety of ways. First, supporting the program in your local area. We have History Day programs all over in all the states, territories, across the world. So find out through our website, nhg.org, and you can find out where the program is in your area. You can volunteer to serve as a judge. We always need people to help us evaluate the students' work at the contest. You can volunteer in other ways or help in the classroom with students and helping them learn how to do research. That's another piece. And then I would be very remiss and get in big trouble with my board if I didn't say you also donate to National History Day.
Absolutely.
To keep this going.
And what's your website?
It's www.nhd.org.
And I'm assuming there's a link on there where people can donate money.
Oh yes, absolutely. Right up in front.
Yeah, I was going to say, if there's not, get on that tomorrow, because there should be. I want to bring back all of our students here. So straighten up, guys. Okay, so bring everybody back on, because this is as many people as we've had on History Happy Hour at once. And do I have everybody here? Is there anybody? Are we missing anybody? I'm looking. I think
one. Amanda, is Amanda there?
Amanda is with National History Day, so she's not.
She's not tuning in. All right.
She's just stalking us. But I want to just say, I want to say to you guys, and luckily we only had this number, because if we'd had one more person, I don't think we could fit you all on the screen. But I wanted to say to you guys, thank you so much for joining us today, and congratulations. I'm blown over, and I hope that when you're done with this, go back to the link, look at the show, and look at the comments, both on the Facebook page, because they're different, and on the YouTube page. Lots of very positive comments about you and your projects. So thank you so much for bringing them to us today. And I hope, are all of you going to compete again? Raise your hand if you're going to compete again on National History Day. Okay, so, all right, woo, 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 woo. So maybe we'll have you back on next year. We'll see how it goes. But thank you so much. And Cathy, thank you. 43 years, you're going to stay with it for a few more years?
Yeah, you can never truly leave. I would always say History Day is the Hotel California. Once you check in,
you check in, but you don't check out. Okay, well, thank you all of you. Thank you so much for joining us today on History Happy Hour.
And guys, I'm sorry I joined late, but I'm so glad that I got to meet some of you.
Your assignment,
Keep
Chris,
up the good work.
go back and watch the part of the show you
will.
weren't here for.
Absolutely.
And
yeah,
we'll
there
come
we
back and judge. You judge
We would love to.
why you stopped.
Well, there is this thing around D-Day. We tend to be very busy, and that's around when
Yeah.
your finals are, so it's challenging. But we'll
But no,
see
I
what we
would
can
love
do.
We would be honored
We'll
to.
see what we can do.
State,
All right.
local and state.
Thank you, everybody.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Thank you. All right. I'm going to remove them all here. And okay. And stick around if you want. We'll say goodbye to you off the air. I'm leaving you, Chris. Okay. It's just the two of us. I mean,
I
it's the
feel
two
like
of
I
us
just got here.
and our, and our
Sorry,
audience. We'll both be home next week, so it'll be good.
It'll be unusual.
It'll be a rare thing. Wait, when does winter come? And then when winter comes and we're home, we're like, I want to get on the road.
Yeah, I know.
So next week, Chris, we are going to welcome back somebody who's been on our show not too long ago, Garrett Graff, because we were talking to him about his D-Day book, but now he's got another book, a new book coming out called The Devil Reached Toward the Sky, an oral history of the making and unleashing of the atomic bomb. And so he's going to be joining us next week on History Happy Hour. And we really enjoyed talking to him last time, and I think it'll be great to talk to him again.
Yeah, no, I'm looking forward to it. I spent a lot of time on Tinian and in the Pacific, so yeah, it should be good. I'm looking forward to it.
You're going to read with interest and a keen
I
eye,
will.
I'm sure.
I will.
I'm sure. Thanks for joining us, everybody. Please subscribe to us on YouTube, follow us on Facebook, shout at us on Blue Sky, listen to our podcast, back us on Patreon, and browse historyhappyhour.com.
Thanks, everybody. Be safe and support National History Day.